Hey, what's up, y'all? You already know who it is. King Comebacks with 2Ks at the end, and this is Creating Greatness Podcast. Had to hit you with the solo edition. It's been a lot going on. If you listen to the last episode, The Storm with my main man, Tony Spencer, you heard me talking about preparing for Hurricane Milton that hit the west coast of Florida, here where I live. And you also heard me talk about preparing for life's storms and the importance of preparation. Over the weekend, well, I don't know, it wasn't actually a weekend. Now is the weekend. But over the few days that we evacuated to the Miami-Dade County area. Shout out to them. Great host, amazing restaurants, and beautiful scenery, and a lot of things to do. We weren't as much focused on those things as we normally would be with us maximizing our resources. We're going to talk about that here right now. But it's just a great area. I mean, in my opinion, the Davie area, the Weston area, those are the areas I'm talking about. Just beautiful, beautiful neighborhoods. And I don't mean to put them on blast, but hey, man, we appreciate you playing host to a lot of us from the West Coast that evacuated from Hurricane Milton, and I'm grateful for you, man. So we went over there. So as I'm over there, we stayed in this beautiful place with a beautiful yard and a lot of nature. And that's part of what I'm talking about, the way that they landscape. It's less perfect. It's less, it has to be lined up. It has to be shaped up. They let nature flow a little bit more. And in that flow, there's a lot of beauty, different flowers, the trees look a little different, the leaves look a little different. They allow for different kinds of plants that may not be aesthetically pleasing to some of the folks here on the West Coast, or maybe they just don't grow as well. I don't know, but it's just definitely a beauty that it's all its own. So thank you once again there. But because of that nature, because of that energy of that area, I just was really flowing with a lot of ideas. I want to talk about a couple different things. So first, this was the main idea that I sort of developed. Once again, it's already something that was within my arsenal, but just strengthening it, clarifying it, adding to it, taking away from it. I mean, that's what we do. That is what the aim of Creating Greatness is all about. It is taking a thing, no matter where it's at, no matter what it looks like, no matter how fucked up it is, no matter how messed up it is, no matter how old it is, how young it is, whatever, right? And improving upon it. We're not so quick to discard ourselves, our things, our relationships, material things. How can we take this thing and improve upon it? So first, I wanted to clarify a point that improving upon an idea, which I started talking about what happens when you end up back at the drawing board and how frustrating that could be, especially if you put in a lot of work. And I gave examples as if material got deleted from a computer or whatever, and you were just almost like devastated because you put in all this time, energy, and effort into a project and ended up now at square one. And that is a devastating thing to happen to anyone. But I urge you to consider what was the lesson in it. What was the reason for that happening? I mean, it's really tough, but maybe it's because you were supposed to start from scratch. Because there's a beauty in starting. There's a beauty in starting over. I talked to my wife about it, hey, what if that storm washes away our whole house? I mean, it's a rental, but, washes away this house, and then are we going back to that job, or what are we doing? And although we didn't want that to happen, I could see the excitement in her eyes a little bit. And maybe I could just feel it so deep in me, and I know her so well, and we match up so well that I knew she felt it too. The excitement of starting over, the excitement of becoming something new. But that didn't happen, thankfully. So take that, I suppose, as an example of one thing you could be happy about if it all ends up back at square one. But to be precise in my point, what I really truly meant was, when you have racked your brain, racked your notebooks, thought of this situation in your life from all different angles, and even entertained different possibilities, like, I think I'm going to go this route, or I think I'm going to go that route. But then through some course of events, maybe new information, because we have to constantly be taking in the new information, staying up to date on what's happening that's related to the situation, so that we can eventually pull the trigger on a decision. Because we all know, or hopefully we do, or we can start thinking about this within our minds, that indecision is always worse than a decision that was a mistake. It just is, because nothing happened. Because even if you lose progress, it can still be viewed as progress. Something happened, something moved, I learned something, how not to do it, how I failed, what I could do differently later. Or, okay, boom, we gathered all the information, we made the right decision, and now we're here living out, the evacuation in style and comfort, when, a lot of others, and I pray for every single person who was affected negatively by these things, but at the same time, I wasn't going to feel bad because me and my family weren't. It's a very fine line there. Why we can feel the pain of the world as we see all these awful, terrible things happen everywhere, have been forever. So, you can feel the pain, and you have to understand that is happening. And maybe there's an instance of something really moves you where you're called to help. In fact, one of my wife's friends needed a place to stay. They couldn't find a place to stay, and we were able to put them in the mother-in-law suite in the back because we weren't using it. And that's just a small example of what I mean. If you have the power to. But in other circumstances where people were flooded in this, and I'm on the other side of the state, what can I really do than pray for them and send my thoughts to them and pray for them here on the air and talk about it and shed light on it, but not feel bad or anything like that about my family not being in that circumstance, because in a large part, it was due to proper planning by me and my wife. So we must constantly be thinking about these things in life. And I don't mean, I guess, constantly, this may be a very extreme word as far as like potential problems and pitfalls in life, but I just do think it requires an ample amount of thought. That way, like I said, when situations like this happen, you're cruising in the luxury B&B and you're not, floating down the river with all your possessions. Or in any other crises, please don't, just pigeonhole this bigger conversation into just this storm, Hurricane Milton. So I'm thinking more and more about how exhausting all variables is the best plan. But then there sometimes was a, let's say they call that anticlimactic, or, when you get to the bridge of something that you feel as if it may be exciting, and then it's like, huh. So maybe I'm not finding the right vocabulary to express that, but that is what it felt like to me when we were examining this problem from all angles, coming up with different potential plans to follow through. And then it ended up that the answer was like, do nothing. Now, rarely is that the case. And it's certainly not the glamorous choice or the exciting choice. But a lot of times it is the best choice. But then I had a feeling like, damn, I did all that work, writing lists, pros and cons of this choice, pros and cons of that choice. Well, what are the pitfalls of that choice? What could be the problems with this other choice, as well as the potential benefits of all those things? And if you got to break out a Google Sheet, don't feel no type of way. This is your life we're talking about. So people are making Google Sheets about food products and how they should be labeled and how they should be monitored and how they should be packaged, because I did this for a living and it was extremely boring. Then why can't you make one about your actual life, things that actually matter? So there was that anticlimactic feeling like, damn, I put in all this work and now I have this square one, and my action is nothing, to do nothing. It's a beautiful thing, man. Sometimes the very best choice is not the attractive choice. It's not the beautiful choice. It's not the exciting choice. It's just the best possible decision for you and your family, and how to minimize risk, maximize resources, and put yourself and your family in the best possible position to win. But at the same time, had that decision been like, hey, man, we just got to start from scratch. We got to start over and do this thing again. Understand that whatever you've accomplished to this point in your life, even if it isn't exactly where you want to be, you could do it all again. You could do it all again and more. you may be able to do it better. So don't ever let being stuck back at the drawing board be a deterrent to continuing your life's work, your passion, your purpose. It's finding people. The world needs you. That's real. So the preemptive strike is what I call that. That is the work that we put in before any life problem, issue, situation, storm, potential that could come. The preemptive strike, put it in your arsenal, put it to work. Even if you need a Google Sheet, man, we're gonna make it happen. Exhaust all variables. Even if you end up at the same, we talked about the trip, we talked about the storm, we talked about minimizing risk and maximizing resources. Real quick, I'll add on to minimizing risk. And what I mean by this is like, in the instance that I was thinking about it, we were talking about, me and my wife, organic shopping and organic food. And if you get into a situation where you're on a budget, where do you draw the line? And then there was also further conversation about all the toxins in our colognes and perfumes. Don't use them, folks. Riddled with toxins, carcinogens. I'm not telling you not to smell good. I'm not telling you don't use deodorant, but there's natural oils and gels and all these different type of things that do not have all the toxic chemicals in them and that naturally resonate with your body a little bit better. Maybe you're not blowing the whole room away with your scent, but you shouldn't really have to be anyway. And maybe there's something else going on if you have to do that. So, but I didn't mean to go on a side note there, but all of our products are this way. All of our food products, all of our cleaning products, all the products that are, for your biggest brands that you see in every store, Coca-Cola, Head and Shoulders, Suave, all these different products that are on the shelf in modern day America, in every store you see, are riddled with toxins to the point where you could just be so overwhelmed with it. You just go, well, what am I even supposed to buy? Because I'm telling you, it's so deep, folks. The lady at the store thought I was crazy the other day when I tell her, please do not hand me that receipt because it's riddled with BPA and your fingertips absorb things a lot faster than the rest of your body, and it can get right in you like that. All kind of toxins. Through grabbing a receipt, folks, the lady thought I was absolutely nuts. I didn't care. I got to live my truth, right? I just heard, and you never know, you hear these things on the internet, that authenticity is the highest form of vibration that you could possibly be vibrating at to attract all good things into your life. So be yourself, folks. So I got to tell this lady, don't give me that receipt. I don't want the BPA. So it gets to a point where, like, are you going to eliminate it all? It's in our water, it's in our air, it's in the soil. Microplastics in everybody's blood to a certain degree. And I'm not trying to be doom and gloom here. I am forever an optimist. I always think that my body will eradicate and eliminate all unnecessary, things from the body. And I focus on this a lot of times. And now you guys are really thinking I'm crazy with the receipt and the BPA and all these different things. But, you go down your path with it, man. You meditate, you pray, you do your thing, and you find your own truth. It doesn't have to be mine. And I pray that anyone out there listening understands that I say these things to make you think, maybe to give you another angle, and ultimately because these things have been beneficial to me, but I understand that they may not be beneficial to you. But anyway, about minimizing risks. So it gets to the point with all that I've said where you're just like, I'm just going to say F it and just go back to like whatever. That's a dangerous road to travel at any time. F it. As soon as you hit that F it button, man, it gets dangerous because, you're no longer thinking logically. You're no longer thinking pragmatically. You're just shooting off the cuff. And while I may be able to talk like that, I'm not able to act off the cuff. I have to plot and plan and be strategic in the way that I move. So what I say by that is to not overwhelm myself with the sheer quantity of things that I have to look out for as far as in my daily life so that I'm not poisoning myself and my family. We just minimize risk, folks. I'm not going to go skydiving. I'm not going to get in the ocean because there's sharks. I'm not going to not go on a roller coaster at an amusement park except for Disney. Because, I don't do Disney. I don't do woke, and I don't do just like that whole thing anyway. Even I live in Florida, never been there, never will be there, never will take my kids there. We did just go to Wolf Lodge in Naples, though, and I give it 5-star. Man. It was so much fun for the grown-ups and the kids, and relatively, pretty good price. So, where was I there? Minimizing risk. So, we just do the best we can to not get overwhelmed by it, to not just totally say F it, but just to do the best we can in all things all the time, but just don't get hung up on it. Don't get caught up on it. It had to be organic. This You know, the one thing I do draw a hard line is with GMO. We don't do that at all. You never know what that stuff's doing to the body, but that's what I mean by having the balance with it, so that you're minimizing risk, but you're not being just totally extreme with it to the point where you're frustrating yourself and everyone around you, because it's just like almost impossible in today's modern society unless you really like go off grid, learn some stuff, and get down back to the basics of life, which is definitely also something to give thought. I don't think that everyone is for off the grid. I don't think everyone need, being a farmer and self-sustainable. I don't know if that's for everyone, but I do know that different people like to fish, different people like to hunt, different people like to farm, like myself. Different people love animals and dealing with that aspect of it. So if we, once again, skill share, put our stuff together, then we really can take a step back. Because let's say this guy down here knows how to fish real good, and this guy here knows how to hunt, and this other lady knows how to preserve and can and do all these other things. And then we put that knowledge together and we can really start to build something. So I think it's vital importance for any of us and all of us just to pick one thing or two things and just pick up a few things. That way, across the course of time, maybe we are able to take a step back, shop a little less, consume a little less, go out a little less. That way, all those things are still there. All those things are still available, and they're great and they're fun, but they're not a necessary need in our everyday life. So, yeah, man, just minimize the risk. Don't get over crazy with it, because it could. It's just like if you're going to the gym and you're doing it for health, but then I know, for instance, when I first came home, I was just like lifting the heaviest weight, taking all these supplements, going crazy every day in the gym, and it became almost like an unhealthy thing. So with anything in life, if you go too far down the rabbit hole, it's going to get weird. So just beware of rabbit holes. Learn what's inside the rabbit holes of different topics and subjects in life, but don't get trapped down them. Because if you go too far down any rabbit hole in any niche of life, man, it's going to get weird. I promise you, it's going to get weird. It's amazing what 24 hours can do. It's amazing what 24 hours can do. And I say this because, a couple weeks ago, it's amazing that throughout all this storm, although there was frustrations and traffic, mainly in traffic, is still something I'm very much working on. A lot of traffic associated with the storm. When we got back to the house, there was some work that I had to do, bounce back and forth with the electric in different rooms. There was problems, water was on and off a couple times. There was a lot of frustration, but I wasn't ever in a place like what I'm talking about, because we all reach these places, and it may not be because of life storms. And that sometimes I feel like is the very worst time when it happens. When you just wake up and you don't want to wake up and you feel awful. When you're not sick, nothing's wrong, but you just don't want to do it, man. That's the space I was in like a couple weeks ago, and I guess it was very frustrating to me because I couldn't realize why. There's food in the fridge, the roof's the roof's on, despite all the storms. The kids are healthy, the wife is healthy, she still loves you. Mom's is healthy, the podcast is growing, everything is harmonious. Why do you have this crushing weight of defeat on you this morning? Now, maybe you could attribute to what I ate the day before. How did I sleep? Was I skipping meditations and all those different things? Because those things definitely come into play. And once again, insert your process, whether it be working out or meditating or doing yoga or journaling or sitting in the sauna or doing cold baths, whatever it is, or even different stuff that I'm not mentioning, because once again, I'm always going to go back to my process because that's what I know. And then so I go, well, if I do the things that I know that are within my process, if I can force myself to do it, if I can somehow just claw my way through these tasks that become so monotonous and so like list-like I have to do this, I have to do that, just so I can be at a common space. And then frustration groups. Well, why do I have to do these things every day just to feel okay? And then it goes back to my addiction. It's because I didn't want to put in the work. I didn't want to put in the self-work because something is not right with me. Something may not be all the way right with all of us. And we all can have these days where even if life is great and we just wake up and go, man, I just don't want to do it today. And then if it doesn't go better, you could sink further, like I'm just speaking about. Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to work my ass off just to feel okay, just to be happy, just to feel normal, just not to be angry? And I'm not even gonna do it. No, 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 no. No, Rob. F it. No, no, no. We're not gonna hit that F it button. Dangerous things happen in life when we hit that F it button. We're no longer thinking logically. We're no longer thinking pragmatically. Things can go awry, spiral downward very, very quickly if we're not careful. So that may be the moment where I call myself. There's no other choice. You can't quit. Why quit? It's like, I'm just going to quit, I guess. Like nothing seems to be working. Life isn't working out how I thought I deserved or what I thought would happen. I'm just going to quit. What's the alternative? You know, people are counting on me. People are counting on you to be the best possible version of yourself so that you can show up in your life and then be there for them in their life. And that's where I caught myself. Boom, I'm on to the prayer, I'm on to the meditation, I'm on to the hop in a cold shower, force myself through it, kicking and screaming mentally. But then here it goes, 24 hours down the road the next day. And I felt absolutely fantastic. I don't know why. Just like the flip side of the morning before, when I woke up and felt like that. And I didn't know why. That next day I woke up, maybe it was because of the process, and I felt amazing. I felt grateful to be alive. I was happy. And I just thought, man, it's amazing what 24 hours can do. And to take that into further detail, I know that you've been places in your life that you felt, man, this is like one of my lowest moments, or maybe it is my lowest moment. And at those moments, we can all be prepared to hit the effort button. But that has to be our bad signal to ourselves. No, I'm not going to hit the effort button. I'm not going to go and derail, not be pragmatic, not be logical, and not be spiritual. Not understand that there is a greater plan to everything. No matter what you believe in, there's something there. And once you catch yourself and you're able to flip it back, tune back in, and tap back in, and initiate a process, you may find yourself on a lighter side of life in 24 hours or less than. So never give up, never lose hope, never think that it is over. Never hurt yourself, never harm yourself. People are here for you. People have been there. People can relate. You can reach out. We will talk to you. Creating Greatness Podcast at Gmail, all lowercase. King of Comebacks, 2Ks, all social media outlets. And we can talk you through it, man, and show you back to way back to the light in that 24 hours. And then just going into it, because the bad times have to happen. You know, the bad times have to happen. The bad times are simply here to show us what's good. Because if we lived nothing but good times and everything was happy and all the time and you were getting everything you wanted and everything went your way every single time throughout your whole entire life, first of all, you'd probably end up being a very not interesting person. You'd probably be pretty shallow because you haven't experienced the deeper, darker side of life. You haven't looked intricately into what life is and how relationships work and who you are and who other people are. It's a very surface level life. And I don't know if you would even know that you're experiencing good, that life is good. Would you know that life is good if you never experienced bad? It's like pain in the body or pain in the mind or pain in the heart. Would you ever know when you were healed and you were harmonious and you were happy, you were healthy, if you didn't experience that pain or that disease of life, something within you was just not right? So the bad times are here to show us the good, man. We just have to pay attention. We have to pay attention to the bad times, see what we're doing wrong, see how we can tweak things, see how we can do things differently. If we need to eliminate certain people, eliminate certain substances, add different things, different practices to the overall to lessen the potential of that bad time happening again. So just pay attention. The bad times are to show us the good. Embrace the bad times. I know it's difficult. Embrace them like you embrace the good. Don't wish your life away. I can't wait till this is over. No, 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 no. It's a limited time, folks. We're all on the clock. Why am I going to? I can't wait till this is over. Just because I'm experiencing bad times. I didn't think that way when I was inside the cell. Yes, I wanted to get out, but I continually thought, use this time, Robert. You have a unique opportunity here where you're totally segregated and separated from society, and you can focus supremely on self. And if I didn't use that time, that bad time, instead of constantly wishing it away, I wouldn't be here now speaking to you, spreading this message of love, peace, joy, redemption, power. Let's go, folks. Let's go. Where are we at? We at 26. Let's go. So be proactive. Prepare for the storm. You know, if you listen to the 20 tips for joy and success in your life with Dr. Leslie Madrak a couple episodes ago, if you haven't checked it out, make sure you go back and check it out. She said that, and I agree with her here, that most people seek God, they seek spirituality when crisis hits, when something happens within their life. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't go to the Lord or go to something spiritual when these things happen. Where else is there to go? But if we're proactive in our pursuits, if we're proactively seeking God, truth, something greater than ourselves, then when these storms and crises hit within our lives, once again, we're going to handle that adversity way better than everyone else around us. And while we may not be in competition, we are looking for opportunity within the chaos. So if we're operating effectively in all aspects of life, even during life's storms, and everyone else is running around doing all the things that they should have been doing up until that point, I'm not wishing any harm on you all. I pray for you all. I will help you all if I can. But I'm once again not going to feel bad because I'm now making my way to the top because I put in the work day in and day out. And it's very important. Be proactive in your pursuits. Be proactive in your seeking of truth, of your true authentic self. Once again, remember the highest vibrancy, the vibrational frequency in the world or in the universe is so said, once again, it's all speculatory. It's the authenticity. But I believe that there's something to that because once you figure out who you are and you start operating in that truth, man, and then the fear of what everyone thinks of you sort of falls away, that's powerful. It's powerful. It's powerful for anyone. And then the thing that you have to maintain there is I don't care if it's different. I don't care if no one else likes it. I don't care if people are talking behind my back. I'm here now, and this is what I'm going to do. And let's see, how many we got left? No. So this one is related to all of it as well. So be proactive in your pursuits. Prepare for the storm. Do the preemptive strike. There's going to be a time during anything. Maybe day to day, could be because something happened where you're beginning to feel overwhelmed. I don't like to use the word overwhelmed because I feel like the minute you say that you are overwhelmed is when you are overwhelmed. So when I get ready to say it, I go, well, I'm not overwhelmed, but I'm getting to a point, an unnameable point. Because to me, overwhelmed is like admitting defeat. Like I'm overwhelmed. And I know that people don't do that. Like I'm just overwhelmed. I think it's more of like, I'm not going to use the word cop out because I think that it's genuine. People feel overwhelmed. But a lot of times it can be used as an excuse for failure, for poor performance, and etc. I was overwhelmed. So in that way, I'm going to disregard it in my life, at least. And I urge you to fight that word and fight that feeling when you're feeling that way. But instead, like what I do at these times is, and I don't want to say this and have it be misinterpreted. I like to hold myself to a very high standard. I think that the higher standard that we hold ourselves to in our daily life, in our speech, in our actions, we try in our thoughts as well. I think the better we're going to do in life. I also think that the better the world will be, so that I constantly try to go above and beyond. I constantly try to do more than the next man. Once again, not in a competition sort of way, but just because I want to hold myself to a high standard of life, work ethic, righteousness, and all the above. But there's times where there's just so much. We all know if we have kids, if we have family, if we have a career, if we have other pursuits that we want to pursue in life other than working 8 hours a day or whatever, or maybe more, maybe a little less in some circumstance. But we all want to reach a different spot in life. We all have other things we want to be working on, things that we're passionate about. So within the realm of all that, you can absolutely start to feel that word that we're going to leave out and feel that feeling. So I do lessen my standards a little bit at these times. You know, we're looking at things from all different angles. We're trying to go here. We're trying to go there. We skirt around, under, above. Maybe that's not possible. In some instances, the only way is through. The only way is through. And sometimes to get through, I do have to just take an edge off my standards. Okay, some things are going to slip through the cracks here, but we're going to get it done, you know? And that, I feel like that is okay. I really feel like it is okay. It's just like if you're moving towards that finish line, if you're moving towards that end zone, if you're going for the touchdown, if you're going for the win, if you're going for victory, an ugly win is still a win, folks. So don't focus on what it looks like. You know, normally we would be operating very effectively and efficiently and covering all angles, not letting anything slip through the cracks. Because, you know, if you continually let things slip through the crack, I must have missed that. I must have missed. Those things add up, man. And then you could have to take major time out of a day, a week, or a month, taking care of those loose ends later. So in normal, everyday, day-to-day life, we want to cover all aspects. We want to be attacking from all angles. We want to be pushing every button and not letting anything slip through the cracks. But in times like this, where we're approaching that word, where we're approaching that feeling, it's okay. Let it go. Like I said, we're just minimizing here then. Just like I said with the organic food and the risks of life, we can't do it all. We're going to minimize it to the best degree. When you're following through, when you're getting overwhelmed and you feel that way, just move forward. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter how you finish, as long as you finish. An ugly win is still a win. And sometimes it's always beneficial to approach things from multiple different angles and run it through different filters of thought and see if there's a way to avoid certain things within the path. Up, down, and around. But a lot of times the way is through. A lot of times the way is through, and it doesn't have to be pretty, folks. Win is still a win. I have a lot more topics I want to get to. We're going to do another solo episode soon, I promise y'all. We have Mr. Jack Hager, prison minister, coming up next. We have Rhonda Parker Taylor with an amazing journal on emotional intelligence in the role it plays in being successful. Make sure you stay tapped in. Make sure you stay tuned in. Join the group Spiritual Warriors on Facebook. Follow me, Creating Greatness Podcast. Rate the show, man. I love y'all, especially y'all that made it to the very end. God bless.